Hello, the name is Osvaldo Antonio Nyaka, and welcome to another one of these short videos where we explore human behavior. We look at how certain principles apply across all 7 areas of your life, and we just look at principles that you can apply and implement on a daily basis. And today we're going to be looking at a principle which is called survivor's guilt. Now, very interesting, before I get into that principle and explain what it is I had a conversation, an encounter with someone who has a obtained a certain wealth level, and through hard work and dedication this individual obtained wealth at a certain level, and now because of that comfort that came with that wealth, she or well the individual, I'm forgetting what sex they were, but this individual actually then started to feel that, well, she doesn't deserve to be on this level. And in that deserving, what we found is that the individual actually didn't see the correlation between what they earned to get on that wealth level and the actions that they took that actually contribute to that wealth level. So they were comparing themselves to someone else who could perhaps be on a lesser wealth level according to their perception. Now, when we went through the story, we went through in terms of finding out what they did to earn this wealth and why they deserve to have this wealth. We found a certain pattern in there that she, well, the individual, she actually dissociated herself from the wealth that she got, in that her perception of herself didn't change because the income is there, the wealth level is there, but she still had this perception that she should perhaps be on a lower level. And what we did is we actually, again, we went in and said, what is it that you did to deserve this wealth level? And we found that for 5 years, she was invested in putting the money in, working overtime, working 2 jobs, and all of that contributed to her obtaining this specific wealth level. And at the end, the result of that was that she was then able to tell herself that, I do deserve to be on this wealth level, and I do deserve to have what I have. So this just reminded me of the principle that we're going to be speaking about today, which is the survivor's guilt. Now, if you Google it or AI it, the definition that you come up with there is when you feel guilty that you have survived something or have gained something, and in your perception, you believe that it is at the expense of somebody else, somebody losing something, or somebody not obtaining it. Now, if we look at on the perception of finance, normally you'll find that survivor's guilt comes when you accomplish perhaps a higher financial level, and you believe that because someone else hasn't achieved the same level as you, you think that you've accomplished it at the expense of that somebody else. And this usually comes because the usual narrative will be, well, times are hard. We are living in an economic crisis. And because the normal conversation is around being down and you're surviving above that level, you'll tend to have survivor's guilt. And in survivor's guilt, you'll tend to say, well, run the story in your mind that, well, why is it that I'm the one who's receiving this when others are receiving something else? Or perhaps they're receiving less than you are. And this is normal. It happens. I mean, I've had survivor's guilt in the past 2 weeks where I've had certain individuals in my life where they were in car accidents and their cars got written off. And I kept asking myself, well, if they got into car accidents, why am I the one who's not getting into a car accident? Why am I the one who's driving so carefully? And as it happens, because I was running that story in my mind, I then ended up scratching my car to balance out that ingratitude that I was having. And because I was having that ingratitude, it got me to be grateful for what I have. And what tends to happen is that sometimes we attribute false biases where we're saying, well, I got this at the expense of them losing something. So what we're doing is we're attributing what we have and saying it because they lost it, it's the reason why I got it. And if you keep running that story, you can actually build up guilt. And in the financial sense, you could end up giving your money away to people and not have a fair exchange for when it comes to giving away your money. And this means that you can actually take your own income, give it away, give it to someone, donate your money, and take away their responsibilities or their ability to earn money because of this guilt that is running in you. And what you want, not to say that giving money is necessarily a very bad thing, but what you need to understand that is that you can never support someone or something without creating its equal and opposite challenging force. So the moment you support something or someone, you're actually also creating a future challenge. If you look at the hedonic adaptation principle, is that all high moments and all low moments interweave into one another and create this leveled out level of happiness. So if you're in that state where you're feeling the survivor's guilt, in my suggestion, what I would do is to actually ask quality questions and being able to identify what it is that you're feeling survivor's guilt over. If, for example, you have obtained a level of financial success and you're comparing yourself to someone else who is perhaps at a lower financial success, what you can do is apply this principle that states that if you meet someone that has more money than you, they will judge you to be very, very stingy. No, they'll actually judge you to be very cheap. So whenever you're around someone who has a higher wealth level than you, they will actually tell you that you are actually cheap. But then the moment you meet someone who's at a lower economic level than you, who has less money than you, they'll actually label you to be greedy. So it doesn't matter where you are in terms of what you've accomplished financially. It's all a point of reference. And again, this is just an example of financial success. But what you want to do is to actually find the person that you're comparing yourself to. Perhaps this is person X that you believe should deserve better financial success, or maybe you're thinking, well, I'm feeling guilty because I've achieved this at the expense of this person losing out. What you want to do is to actually find out the benefits to you and them of you having that financial success. Perhaps you having that financial success opens up the door for them to take certain responsibilities in their life because you're now becoming an example of that level of success. And in you obtaining that level of success, how else does it benefit them? It could benefit them in terms of them thinking, well, instead of setting low goals, I can now set higher goals. And they could perhaps come to you so you can mentor them. So it helps them in that way where it benefits them. And what you want to do, if you find that you tend to give away because of the survivor's guilt, what you actually want to do is to find the drawbacks to you giving your money away or donating your money to someone so that you balance that out. Because remember that whenever you create a challenge, you create an equal and opposite support of that. And whenever you create a support system, you create an equal and opposite challenge. So for example, if you spoil someone, give them money all the time, what you're doing is you're creating a future challenge where they will have to somewhat fend for themselves. But if you don't give someone money, you train them on how to earn their own money, that challenge creates a future support where it develops a skill for them to be able to earn their own money in their own way. So what you want to do is to identify again, what is it that you tend to do in that survivor's guilt? You tend to give away your money. Well, find out the drawbacks to yourself and that individual when you give them money because of the survivor's guilt. And then also find out what are the benefits that you got this success over them. so that you're able to balance that out and take away those guilts that you perceive. So if you look at the definition of guilt, why we feel guilt is because in our perception, we believe that we've done or we've gained something that is at the expense or more than what. So in other words, we think we've accomplished more good than bad over somebody else. So what you want to do is actually balance that out. Balancing out that guilt is all about going into the specific event and again balancing it out. If you're feeling guilty about it, find out what the benefits are to you and the other person that you have this success over them. Then what you want to then do is to actually take your level of success and ask yourself, where does the person have their own success where you don't have it? Because we're all individuals, and because we all have these individual hierarchy of values, you'll find that my success is not the same as yours because we tend to value different things. So where you believe you're more successful, find out where the other person is also as successful as you, where they demonstrate that success level. And when you do that, you'll see that, oh, actually this person's wealth is in this certain area of their life. And my wealth is perhaps financially or in terms of money, but perhaps the other person might have a great family. They might have a great home. They might have a great social life where you were sacrificing your social life to achieve this success. They were going out and making more friends. So they could perhaps be more successful than you socially, where you are successful financially. So being able to balance those out and get to that equilibrium point where you actually see that, oh, in actual fact, we all have the same level of success. It's just a matter of perception and a matter of what you value. And when you study these hierarchical values and you see what people value differently, you'll actually get to see that in actual fact, there's nothing to have survivor's guilt over because we all have success on the same level. It's just our interpretation and our perception of what success is. So that's just my input in terms of being able to work through the survivor's guilt. If you are going through it again, it's all about asking yourself these balancing questions. And remember to actually adapt the principle of the hedonic adaptation principle that in the end, everything evens out. The challenges becomes your supports and the supports end up becoming the challenges. So it all evens out at the end. So from my side, I just want to say thank you for taking the time to invest in yourself. You do deserve to have everything that comes to you because you've actually put in the time. Thank you and love you.